All right.
Okay. So what was the question again?
I have a lot of unanswered questions.
Okay.
The first start off with the first one is, what could she have possibly done to make you dismember her like that?
Being black. Our skin color has always been a target. They don't like us.
That is crazy.
And especially because it was premeditated for weeks. They even said it. It was been premeditated for weeks. The person who said that it was premeditated should have been the one to bring that shit to somebody's attention. It shouldn't have just been sitting on your head that, oh, we've been premeditated, because all this could have been prevented.
Right.
So when you say it's been premeditated, was it premeditated with her particularly
It could have been
her?
anybody.
Oh.
Because
Anybody
we don't
black,
know.
I think.
Anybody black. Because why would he, out of all the people on the dating app, there are a lot of people on dating apps. You have Asian, white, Hmong, blacks,
Why you choose
Mexicans.
black?
Why do you choose the black woman? Why?
And then, not to mention, was it a friend of his or sort of something of that nature
This is
that
what's the
said that he was planning on killing her? And her mama did good sitting through that, looking at her body parts.
Because she was already explained that if you like most of it was because she was a part of that search party.
I can't even imagine me stumbling up on my child.
I can't either. I will go
Like
crazy.
I will let other people
everybody
do
keeps
research.
saying they
I
will
can't
go
participate in
crazy.
that.
They will
I'm
go
sorry, I
crazy.
just can't participate in that.
People will go crazy.
Even though it's my child, I just
My anger
will
would take the
refrain.
best of me, and I would
Yes.
probably go off on just about everybody. I don't care if you helping me. I need you to get the hell away from me.
And I wouldn't even be able to sit in that courtroom. I have to watch at home because, baby, every day I'm cussing your ass out.
And every day, if he lose, I'll be up in the camera. I'll be like, I blame each and every one of them jurors because you could have. I mean, based off freaking common sense. That anybody you see that I will connect the fucking dots.
And
If I was
what
just a
I hate when they put up, to me, a juror, how many cultures there is?
it's
How many cultures is it? How many different races there are?
I think about 3.
It's more white people.
How many, no, I'm not talking about the jury. How many races are there?
in the world.
Hypothetically speaking, yes.
Oh, there's many.
I feel like when it come down to jury duty, it should be one of each on that thing, not one black person, 2 Hispanics, 10 white people. No, one of each, so it can be fairly.
Well, I
You
think
get what I'm
it-
saying,
what
though?
it is
I really
is
feel like
because
that.
Most of it is because they do a jury pick, right? In the county of Milwaukee, it's based off within that jurisdiction on where that crime was committed, on how they pick the juries in that county, because in that jurisdiction it's based off who lives in that jurisdiction, how you could be.
And
a
they
juror.
awfully know what's a white person name, what's a Hispanic
They
person
do.
name. They know all
But what
that.
I'm saying is, this case was so big. That's why it was 70 jurors.
Why was
It
that?
was so because
I
they wanted to
I
pick, and
never
then
heard
they picked
that.
out. They picked because that's how a jury works. If you ever heard about it and then you studied it and you looked at the news and you was like, oh, that's wrong, and you already have judgment on that situation, they're not gonna pick you.
Yeah, because somebody said they never in their life ever seen 70 jurors. And I believe it was like an attorney or something that said that.
It also has something the defense has to play a role in. It's something like a fair. It's almost like a jury of your peers. Almost. It's almost like that.
Chris Ramirez, he's a reporter for the Journal Sentinel. He's been in court. He's been writing about this case the whole time, but he was in court today. He wrote a piece last year. I read this to Miss Sheena last night. He wrote a piece last April, so the same time that they're searching for her remains and everything. Chris Ramirez wrote a piece in the Sentinel asking why the juries are all white in Milwaukee, even though the city is only 33% white. This jury has 12 white people on it out of 15 in a city that's only 33% white. And I went and asked him about that today, and he said that I wrote and said something about
It
that.
ain't 12 white people.
It's 12 out of 15. I
Oh,
counted.
it is.
It's 12
It's
out of
15
15 are
there.
white.
Yes,
It's
it
only
is.
2 black people on
Remember, I
the
told
jury.
you.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
majority
Wait,
white
wait,
people.
wait.
Yes, I said that. It is
And
majority.
since
I've
3
noticed
of the
that.
jurors
and it's
are
3
alternates,
males.
There are only 2 black people on the jury and 1 Asian.
Yes,
so
it
since
is.
there are 3 alternates, this jury could end up being all
All
white,
white.
if they excuse those 3
Wow.
that are the non-white people. I went and asked Mr. Ramirez about that this morning. He said, I wrote about this last week and saying that jury,
Wow, so y'all think the black people? I think that black man gonna stand.
I don't know, he might be an alternate. He
seemed
might not
like-
even be in the last 12 because they don't
Wait,
pick the
how do
alternates.
that work?
They don't pick the alternates until the end when they get to the end of the trial to make sure that everybody, like if somebody has to leave or somebody has an
Oh, I
emergency.
gotta pay attention
so
to
they
who
get
all
to
there
the
so I
end
can
of the
know who
trial,
ain't gonna be there.
And then they pick the 12 jurors.
I know the course the black people gonna stand out.
They pick the 12 jurors at the end, and the 3 alternates are excused. So
Well, hopefully they all women. If they
it
play
could
a
be
part.
all white. Who knows? It could be an all-female jury. That's possible. It's 12 jurors. It could be all female.
I feel kind of better with that.
It could be all white. If it's all female, then that means you already know 10 out of the 12 are going to be white. So. I'm sorry.
Is that still going?
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh, right on.
So as I was leaving the courtroom, and I was going in the hallway, and I was going in the hallway to turn my phone off because remember it was going off that day. The lady who was over the protective service, she was like, they're trying to get to the torso. She was talking to the detectives in the hallway. She was like, they're trying to get to the torso. I'm trying to ask if they can get to the torso today. So they're like, well, are they going to get to the torso? She's like, I'm trying to see, like, can they get to it? Because we've been on so many of these other, aspects of the case. After she says that, one of the white detectives is like, so what do you think about a falcon being a pet? What does this have to do with what's going on? These detectives aren't even taking this shit serious. So that's why I don't really honestly believe the fuck thing they're saying.
Context of white supremacy. Gus T. Renegade in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the global system of white supremacy. Gus T. Renegade still in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Day 6 of the Sade C. Robinson murder trial, incorrectly labeled the first date murder trial. I think that is so tacky and lame through and through, but whatever. Any hoodles. Day 6. I will say, it does appear this trial might conclude in 2 weeks, exactly as many in newspaper outlets. I think Miss Scarborough, Sade's mother, had told me 2 weeks. That's what they've said consistently for weeks, months. This is not going to be no O.J. Simpson affair. 2 weeks, and we are out of here. We are just over the 1 week mark, and it does look like the prosecution, even though the prosecution witness list has 200 plus names, it does look like, and it said in advance that they were not going to call all 200, but these were potential witnesses that they could call to provide testimony. It looks like they're going to call maybe half or so to get their case made. The defense witness list has 6 names. 6. Now, they do add that they can call any witness that the prosecution has called, but there are a hefty number of of witnesses that they called, prosecution called, that the defense didn't cross-examine at all. So I guess it could be a strategy to not cross-examine them at that time and then wait and call them as a witness so that you can ask questions or what have you. I guess they could do that, but I mean, they got 6 witnesses on the witness list. 6. We've been, just on the time component alone, we generally have gotten through at least 10 witnesses a day. Sometimes quite a bit more, because sometimes they don't have a lot of information to share. Sometimes, one person can take up hours. And some witnesses have had to come back on more than one day. But generally, it's not, we're getting through double-digit witnesses per day. For 6, we could knock all that out in the morning. I mean, especially unless they have something really detailed to get into, we could really be done by Friday. Like, seriously, the prosecution, I could easily see them wrapping up their case by Wednesday, Thursday. Defense got 6 witnesses. I mean, that's one day. It even could be they got 6 witnesses. That could be Friday morning. By lunch, we're done. Especially if there's not a whole lot to say on cross-examination, because they didn't have a lot of testimony to give anyway. I know Maxwell Anderson is not going to testify. So, and just that alone, the prosecution had 250 witnesses, most of them white law enforcement officers, doctor, forensics specialists, medical examiners, most of them, really highly credentialed white people and enforcement officials. And you got 6 witnesses. If it was me, like, oh man, you fitting to go up the river. Like, you go and get your commissary in order right now and all your goodies. See if you can get you a cell phone snuck into prison, because you about to be out of here. Max is white, and hey, there are 12 people classified as white out of the potential 15 jurors. So Max say, hey, got a chance. Got a chance. But anyway, that's the time component. It really looks like we could be done Friday, which would be amazing. Like, woo! I would be overjoyed, just because I know Miss Scarborough and Sade's family and relatives would really prefer to just get all of this done, as opposed to, it's been over a year. They still don't have Sade's skull. Can we wrap it up? We've had to sit through all these ghoulish images and photos and all the rest of it. Wrap it up. For myself, man, not having to sit in court all day long, can get some other things done to finish up my time here in Milwaukee and look at these ghoulish images and check. And I was not rooting for this trial to last 4 or 5 weeks or nothing like that. I did not want to have to stay here for no month and a half and all the rest of it. So, hey, win. Get the conviction on top of it and we ride. Anyhoodles, quickly before I get into some of the details from today, the day 5 commentary. I did do the program yesterday evening. It just wasn't at the typical time because I was on my counter-racist grind through and through. I came here to do research, and I wanted to go to all the locations and such where they found remains, and went to the suspected killer's residence and all of that. He's in prison now, but, and I had the opportunity yesterday to go do all of that. Weather was great, so I took advantage to do all of that after court, and that made it so that I couldn't broadcast at the normal time. But I did, once the day finally settled and I was able to get back to the hotel, broadcasted late last night, 10:30, still got in our broadcast, but it was so late I was exhausted. It was a full, and I mean the fullest of full days, all day long. Go even during lunch. Go, counter-racist grind all day long. Didn't even get to eat until almost 10 p.m. and came in, did the broadcast, and literally passed out once it was done. So I thought, foolishly, I would get a chance to upload it this morning. I was working on that, and then I had to leave to go back to court. And I talked about that on the broadcast last night, that, man, we only have like 10 hours until we have to be back in court. And I passed out, thought I got up early enough to get all that done. Wrong. Left, got to court on time. Incidentally, I get my ride to court, my Uber driver, black female, we're boogieing along, and she has the news on, and they're talking about the Sade Robinson case.
And she says, oh, it's just tragic and blah, 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 and all that. I said, oh, yeah, I'm going there now. That's what I've been covering. She said, oh, man, you've been there the whole time? I said, yep, been covering it the whole time. She said, oh, my God, this is just so gruesome, and I hope something comes from this, and blah, 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 and all the rest. I hope they convict him. I've been watching it, and he is guilty. And said, matter of fact, he has done this before, which lots and lots of people have said, who've been looking at the trial and all this. This white dude has done this before and probably targeted black females specifically. So, black female driver, she continues and she says, I was here back when Dahmer happened. Ooh, see, that's what I mean. Counter-racist grind all day long. I literally had just gotten out of bed. I'm working on getting the upload from yesterday, going to court right now, getting new information, and excited to get back to court. And even en route, oh, wait a minute, you turned the record. What? You were here with Dahmer? And she says, yep, I was here. I remember all that. She said, I remember we used to see him. He would come to the mall every day. She said, and I mean every day. She said, we called him the mall rat. I said, what? Why'd you call him? She said, because that's what he was. He just came to the mall every day. He didn't do no shopping. He wasn't with anyone. It wasn't like he was going to eat anything. He just came to the mall and looked at people and licking his lips. Delicious. But she said, there's that strange white dude. He's that mall rat out here kicking it. And she said, after he got arrested, then it was, oh, man. Oh, mall rat Jeff, he was out here. He out here salivating and ogling all of other, man, we didn't even, that's what she said. We didn't even know. We just thought he's an old, goofy, oddball white man. We just called him mall rat. We didn't even know. Got heads and things stacked up, and we didn't even know. I said, that's this fella, because they still don't have her skull. She said, yeah, I've been watching. She said, my husband, both of us, we were right here when all the Dahmer thing happened. She said, man, she said, I tell these young girls, they get in my car, and she's a little bit older. When I say a little bit older, like over 50. He said, when I see these young girls, they get in my car, I tell them, man, you be careful. You can't be running out there with these dudes just going to their house and then they're acting wild and you could end up killed. End up like Sade. No. I had to do group dates out in public. Date at the police station. She said, like, no, we can't do no going to somebody's house. And I thought you can't go to the bar. Can't go to the bar. No. Anyway, but that was this morning. Black female. Like I said, there is no break because the audio that we started with, now I could have took news reports. I could have took court testimony. I had wide variety of audio to choose from. Those young ladies that you heard, I was with them for lunch yesterday. I talked about that on the day 5 broadcast yesterday evening that I will upload and make sure that it's included so you'll have all of the audio from my trial coverage. But those young ladies, had lunch with them after the trial, sat with them basically throughout the trial yesterday and then again today. So that was the audio from yesterday, and you heard some of their concerns. Now, I will say the portion about the app, I do think that is an error that was widely reported, and many people talked about that in terms of there being that perhaps Sade met the suspected race soldier on some sort of dating app, and that's how all of this ensued. Apparently, that is not the case. Apparently, at least what I've been told, and I've asked family members, they reported this on local news this week as well, that it seems Sade had a white coworker, friend, that might have been a mutual acquaintance of Maxwell Anderson, the defendant in the criminal trial, and this white friend co-worker introduced the two. And in fact, the local news, Fox 6, they reported within the last week or so that there is video footage of Sade and the white defendant doing shots at a local bar on the Sunday before the murder, the day before. The murders, I think, happened on April 1st or very early in the morning on April 2nd, or murder, singular. They think there's a video of them the day before this, presumably that would be March 31, having shots at a local bar. Maybe that's where they concocted, hey, we'll meet up tomorrow and do, whatever. But it was this, not some sort of we met online and whatever. Anyway, but you heard some of the young ladies' concerns in that audio segment and what their thoughts were about the jury, and even, are they taking it serious, the people in the courtroom? And I can attest that there has been quite a bit of unrelated banter and joking, and apparently there was some of that during Jeffrey Dahmer. I read that article about what was happening in Milwaukee during the Jeffrey Dahmer trials, 30 years ago. And they were saying it was gallows humor and them making funny jokes about dark meat, that sort of thing during the Dahmer trial. So, I mean, hey, some things change, some things do not. Now, they weren't joking about this case, the young lady that she was talking about, but she did say that just them joking in general with all the gruesome images and dismemberment and everything else, that, it's not really appropriate. Gallows humor still. Anyway, I thought it was appropriate to start with that audio because it is so female dominant. And for anyone, if you see the listing on social media, and I'll probably include it in the title so that way it'll be in the archives for people when they pull up this episode whenever. But I have Scent of a Woman in the title because I mentioned it yesterday. I turned around from the gallery, and man, the row that I was on and the two rows immediately behind me, I was the only male seated on any of those three rows. And it was very full. It was, as I said, probably 30 people. I was the only dude. I looked around again today. Wasn't quite as many people, I don't think, but it was still about the same. I think there might have been one other dude sitting on those three rows, the row I was seated on and then the two behind me. Might have been one other dude, but super female dominated. And that's kind of been the whole trial, at least from the spectator position. There have been males, for sure. There have been white people, for sure. But it is a lot of black females. I would say there's quite a bit of younger energy. When I say younger, really teens and 20s. Lots, because I told you there was that high school that was there repeatedly, days and days, watching. And then there have been other people who, just live in the area and have come to watch and all the rest of it. And even as you are moving around the city and just listening, this, it's on the news all day long. It's, streaming, it's on YouTube and all the rest of it. Now, it might not be talking about it wherever you are, but here in Milwaukee and pretty much in the Wisconsin area in general, it is all day long, front of the paper. So there's no way you can miss all of this. So, I mean, you can hear people talking about this on a regular basis and just hear the, what shall I say, fears, anger, frustrations, particularly of the black females in the area. I will say categorically, I have not heard one person, not one person, on any sort of, we got to pray, we got to forgive old Max, we got to pray for our sick white brother, we got to pray for his spirit and wish some healing on old Max. I ain't heard nothing like that. I've heard repeatedly, Get him out of protective custody. They need to beat his hind parts good. That's what I've heard repeatedly. Nothing about poor Max, we forgive poor. None of that. None of that. None of that. In fact, I've heard lots of they should have the death penalty. And I have reminded folks, hey, remember that white fella way back when, Dahmer, chopping up folks, cutting heads off, eating black people? Remember all that? Worked at the chocolate factory? Remember all that? White elected officials throughout Wisconsin, they promoted a lot of big talk. We're going to increase the penalties. You go out and dismember somebody and all that. We're going to put it on you now. We're going to get you good. You go out there and do all that and death. And then they didn't follow up on it. Everybody forgot. They made Jeffrey Dahmer a celebrity and didn't do nothing about increasing penalties for dismemberment. I've reminded a lot of folks of that. Anyway, but many, many, many of the black females that I have heard, man, it has been a combination of fear, anger, what if he gets off? I can't believe it. If he gets off, I'm coming to tear down City Hall myself. If he gets off, like it's just open season on black people, which it already is. Open season on black females, which it already is. But just lots of fear and, how can they not? There's no way. Particularly people that have been following the trial, either that have been coming to court or watching it on TV or a combination of both. But so many people have just said, there's no way you can be watching this and think he didn't do this. There is no way. And if you can't convict him after all this, and the number of black mothers I've heard, it's been a lot of younger people. When I say younger, like teens, 20-year-olds, people that are Sade's age. She was a teenager, so late teens. So people that are in Sade's stomach, it's been a lot of them there, and I can understand that. Like, woo, you talk about you done killed my whole buzz and everything. Like, yes, Max, you done killed a whole lot of folks' buzz. Sade's sister, Adriana, man, she is the saddest looking teen that I have seen ever. And she's not supposed to look radiant and jubilant in the midst of all of this. But man, just everything. Lots of people everybody, in her family looks sad, and as they should, and all of that. But wow, her little sister looks just devastated. Like, not for any sort of morbid curiosity, but just, what did she look like before all of this happened? What was her aura? What was her energy prior to all of this? And then what does she look like now? She just looks like the saddest person ever. Like, if you have a minute. If you have an extra minute, send a little energy, say a prayer for Adriana. That would be spectacular. I'm sure it cannot be any fun. And particularly to be in that age demographic, you're almost moving to the same age as Sade was when this happened. And if you have an extra 60 seconds, say a prayer for Adriana. That would be grand. Anyway, but the female energy in the courtroom has been really has stood out just dramatically. It took me a moment to even grasp, like, man, I have been around like black females a lot, like way more so than I am any other time, just all day long. Like, I smell like black females. Like, that was where I got scent of a woman. I came and I was like, whoa, where's the is that, whoa. And then I thought, like, oh, okay, I guess I was touching a lot of females today. So, okay, man. But you can feel the black feminine energy, and I would say with the fear and anger undergird, because a lot of them, they knew Sade, so it is personal. We lost someone who meant a lot to us, and the vulnerability, like Jesus Christ, I've heard so many folks, they have said that one sentence, that could have been me. That could have been my child. I've heard that from so many black females, black mommies. Just, man, Sade could have been me. Sade could have been my daughter. I'm here every day. If I can't be here, I'm watching. Talk to you. And you don't know what else I've heard repeatedly? I might even have it in that audio because I only played a snippet of the audio conversation that I started today with. I've heard numerous black females say, ain't dating no white boys. That's what I learned from all this. Ain't dating no white boys. I've heard that from numerous black females in the courthouse, no less. What did you learn from this girl? Ain't dating no white boys. That's what I learned. Well, Fuller Jr., he did say no sexual activity between white people and non-white people. Certainly, we ain't going to the bar to do no beer pong or nothing else. Go back to your house late at night for a few dinners. We meet outside the police headquarters, talk about a compensatory investment request or something of that nature. But no, we not doing no. Go to do some what? Jackery? What? Oh no. I don't. No, you are very mistaken. No, we could meet at the university library at high noon. 1,500 other people around in security staff. Yes, we could meet there in broad daylight, and maybe we can research Jeff Dahmer. But lots of, I'd have no idea. Well, I can say I generally do see black male when they have other cases, other criminal defendants. I see black males privileged. And there have been some black males in the courtroom, certainly. Sade's father has been there every day. Sade's uncle has been there every day. Sade's grandfather has been there pretty frequently, but you can see that it has been very rough for him to be present. And seeing the photos, I'm told he was very close to Sade as well. So, yeah. It hasn't been fun for anybody. But lots of females, black females, have dominated the gallery throughout. It's been 6 days now, week and a half basically. Anyway, one thing that I will say about self-care in all of this: sleep. Sleep is one of the most important resources. Just quality rest. Neely Fuller Jr. has that. 4 correct uses of time and energy for us to go ahead and get this problem solved. Sleeping correctly. Making sure that you don't sleep all day and sleep for 16 hours, and making sure that you don't get too little sleep so that you're deprived and fatigued. Man, it seems like I have heard more than once, I ain't dating no white boys. Right on. I also have heard repeatedly, and unfortunately even more frequently, I have not been able to sleep. I've heard that from so many people, Sade's relatives and such, who were saying that even before the trial, but certainly now. And then from pretty much everyone in the gallery, I do think, if I had to guess, maybe the attorneys, maybe they're sleeping pretty good. And I would think the defense attorneys, they got to be sleeping real well. Because, I mean, hey, even if we lose, I'm not going to prison. Go home, eat good at the end of the day, and check for my retainer, already cleared. I'm sleeping good. Got more clients lined up now. I'm sleeping good. So I think Anthony Cotton, defense attorneys, I think they are sleeping pretty good. Maybe the judge too. They see gruesome things all the time. Same thing. Hey, I'm going home. No pressure on me. Win or lose. Hey, not my fault. Prosecution, a little different. Now you got some pressure now. You mess around and lose or get a mistrial or what. It might be a little bit different for them. You wasted all this money and everything else. So a little different for them, a little bit more pressure. But the rest of the folks who just had to sit around and watch all of this gruesome detail and all the rest of it, man, you get to go home and think about that. Severed limb and arm here. Man, that could have been my child. That could have been me. Man, lots of folks, Gus T included, have said, man, it has been really challenging to sleep amidst all that. Plus to get good rest, quality rest without being disturbed. And then it's on TV all the time. When you go to bed, it's right there. First thing in the morning, it doesn't matter when you wake up. 5 o'clock in the morning, it's on TV. 6 o'clock in the morning, it's on TV. 7 o'clock in the morning, it's on TV. And then 8:45, live stream of the trial begins. You can't even sleep. Anywho, sleep is super important. I cannot stress that enough. And even eating, because some folks have said, seeing all that gruesome images and stuff in court, that kind of sticks with you. You can't unsee some things. So some people said that's disrupted their ability to eat and all the rest of it. So, man, self-care. It can be traumatizing, even, going back and reviewing and triggering experiences that you've had and all the rest of it. So just something to keep in mind. Sleep is very important. If you're going through something traumatic, do the best that you can to try to get your rest, even if you have to get some naps in and all the rest of it, even just making time to stay in bed. Sleep is very important. I speak with Miss Scarborough about that all the time. Sleep. Let's go to bed. Let's go to bed. I know it's trying to go to bed. We're going to at least try. We're going to at least lie down and give it a good effort. Anywho, let's see. Actual notes. I haven't really said anything about the trial today. Whew. There was quite a bit. Let's see if I can even get to my notes. And it has just been such I almost want to say a blur, but it's just been so much information. As I said, going to the actual locations, and I cannot stress enough, the geography of Milwaukee is so crucial to understanding this case, because there was so much movement, and it wasn't like this fella just came to Sade's house and they just stayed there the whole night and the murder was there and that was that. Like, it was all over the city, even into Illinois, so man, it's the geography is super important to grasp. With it, I've even thought of getting like a really detailed and pretty large size map of the city, or the county really, of Milwaukee, so that you can see all of the regions and kind of pick out. They put maps of Milwaukee County on the board almost every day, really, as we move throughout the case. You can see the major thoroughfares and where the parks are and where Sade lived at and where the criminal defendant lived at and where these bars are and where the car was on fire, because it's just all over the county. I said city, it's all over the county. Anywho, let's see. And even there are a few things from yesterday that I probably missed just because I didn't get a good quality chance to review my notes and such. Like, one of the witnesses yesterday testified, Russell Davis. He is the owner of Twisted Fisherman's. That's the first restaurant where Sade and Max met on April 1st, a little after 5 p.m., and they're doing shots and drinking beer, all friendly with the bartender on duty. She's 19. You don't see her getting carded or anything on the surveillance footage. So Russell Davis testified yesterday, and he said that Anderson was employed there for 3 weeks. And I said, what? Like, Who works a job for 3 weeks? You worked a pay period and a half. This ain't for me. I ain't gonna. Or got fired. Or what? And I was waiting. We went out to the into the hall on one of the breaks. I remember some of the other people. They said the same thing I did. Like, did they go into detail, or are they going to get into detail about why he only worked for 3 weeks? But they didn't. I was waiting. I had a question mark right there. Like, what? 3 weeks? What? But that was yesterday. Anyway. And I'm sure there were other interesting tidbits, important tidbits that I didn't get to share yesterday just because I didn't get a chance to go over my notes thoroughly before the program. And I pretty much didn't get that chance today either, even though I didn't get to go to any locations. But just, man, people were talking about the trial just before I got back to the hotel. So I was going in and listening, hearing what they were talking about. And I didn't get a chance to eat. I got in, got set up. I looked at the clock. Oh, my goodness. It's almost 7:30 local Central Time. Anywho, let's see. Getting to specific details from day 6 in the courtroom. Or even, in fact, let me rewind and get one more. It was last week. This is from last week, and I'd already talked about this, that they said in court that apparently in Sade's apartment, she had a pink safe with 47 tablets of methamphetamine and THC packages or whatever, some form of THC, cannabis. And this information came out in court, possible red herring, as they say, to distract us from, it's not this criminal defendant, this was a drug deal gone bad. Now, I told you all, they revealed yesterday, toxicology, no drugs in her system except caffeine. But they did not tell Sade's mom in advance about, Miss Scarborough, now they found these drugs in the house. There's nothing in her system, but hey, it was in the house when they did the search, so it might come out in trial. We're going to see if we can stop it from coming out, and we already got our plan together to make sure that this doesn't become some, campaign, smear her, or whatever, and just at minimum, so we don't want you to be blindsided by this in court. What? And then press coming to, ask you all these kooky questions and such. At least let her know in advance, right? Nope. In the midst of all of this, you got to be a parent or family member and get blindsided by that. Woo! Doesn't get any better than tacky. Extra tacky in this context, in my opinion. Let's see. Oh, and one more miscellaneous, get to some of the trial details as well. It's June. They have the anti-sex flag proudly fluttering in the breeze in front of both City Hall and the Milwaukee County Courthouse. So when you walk in for the Sade Robinson murder trial, there is the rainbow a fluttering. They're supposed to have the parade and activities and all that. You hear the phone ringing in the back town? Now, if I was in Seattle, there's no way my phone would be ringing. You can check my record. My man say, Eric Brian Stone, you check my record. My phone don't ring during the live program, but I've been on the counter-racist grind. I'm sure, in fact, that's a 414 number. I know that's a 414 number. Who in Seattle would be, Gus, what you doing? You trying to go get some vegan eats? What you doing, Gusty? No. Anyway, I'll check my phone once we get done and see who is calling me here in Milwaukee County. Anywho, but they're doing maybe they let me know about the Pride festivities that are going on for the month. They're about to have some parade or something in a couple days or so. I'll let you know. And maximum racist aggression. Now, today, what information did we get today at the courthouse? Make sure I even get to, I have so many notes. I have to make sure I get to day 6. The big reveal. Okay, here we go. Day 6. The big reveal, so I don't bury the lead. The big reveal for the day. Okay. Max Anderson has already been identified on the stand repeatedly by a number of enforcement officers who have said, bang, that fella on the video right there on the bus, that fella on the video leaving the scene of where the arson took place, that is Max Anderson, the defendant. That's happened repeatedly over the course of the past 6 days of testimony. Now, they have video of Max Anderson wearing specific clothing that you can see. They have color video, so you can see specific clothing that he was wearing on April 1st when he had the date with Sade, and then specific clothing that he was wearing on the morning of April 2nd, which we suspect, is when he was both driving the car after having killed Sade Robinson, dispersing her remains throughout the county, and then ultimately going to set her vehicle on fire. You can see specific clothes that he's wearing that morning, April 2nd. It's a black hoodie type jacket, really dark. It's dark pants, which also could be black in color, or at least really dark in color pants. Tan shoes with white soles, right? So the shoes itself, where the laces are on the top, everything, the tongue of the shoe, tan, but the soles specifically white. And then he has a tan, about the same color as the shoes, maybe a little darker, tan camouflage backpack. So like the military fatigue pattern backpack. You can see that clearly in the photographs from the morning of April 2nd, repeatedly as he's going to get on the Milwaukee County Transit bus, and then as he's walking from the bus stop, both to the bus stop, from the scene of the arson fire to Sade's vehicle, and then as you see him exiting that bus in the south part of Milwaukee, south part of the city, yes, going to his residence on 39 South. You can see all of this attire. The police, they go do the search on April 4th, April 5th. They do not find any of the clothing or the backpack from April 2nd. None. Now they locate the shirt from April 1st. There's a Carhartt shirt clearly printed on it. They find the shirt, but it's in the dryer. It had already been washed out. None. Clothes, backpack, none of that stuff gets found. Then one detective, he testifies today, he comes in and says, we go out and we're searching the rubbish bins on the block where Max lives, and bam, we find the jacket in a neighbor's trash can, at the bottom of their trash can. Incidentally, this neighbor, had their name in my notes, this neighbor had not been home. They had been on vacation, and so they had not been putting as much trash in the dumpster, and we think maybe the trash didn't get dumped or whatever the case may be, but bang, they find the jacket. They use all that highfalutin technology. They pull that jacket out, and they pull it out of the evidence bag, because they don't do that with everything, pull it out of the evidence bag. They whip that sucker all dramatic style out of the evidence bag. They whipped out that video and said, looky there, can you see anything distinguishing so that we know this is the same jacket he was wearing? He said, oh yeah, look at those pocket designs. And they zoom in like, that's them same pockets. They say, you see, he's even got his hand in the pocket right there. See it, same pocket. You see the label on the side of the jacket? It's got a black fox. I think it said DX or something, or whatever was written there with the fox. You see it, and they zoom in on that, and they show the side of the jacket with the black. Look like, oh no, that's his jacket. I thought it would have been really cool if they had made him put it on, but they didn't do that. But they go through all the like, oh no, they didn't got the jacket. Max, your goose is cooked. Because then it's like, too, why is the jacket in the trash? And it's not even in your trash can. Why is it in the neighbor down the street? Why is it in their trash can? Then, with the shoe, now, you wore those shoes on Tuesday. By Thursday, never seen again. Like, really? They were good enough for you to wear on Tuesday in the rain. Thursday, they're gone. And not even in the trash, just disappeared. Backpack, and it's big too. It's a big camouflage backpack, tan color. Good enough that you can use, wag it all over Milwaukee County on video on Tuesday morning. By Thursday, never to be seen again. What was in the jacket, Gus T? I'm so glad you asked. a lighter, not one, not two, 3 boxes of matches. That wasn't, ooh, you heard that one in the gallery, because one of those 4 charges is arson. And that was a question. How would he light a fire? You can't light no fire with just no old big lighter where you got to hold your thumb on it to keep the flame going. Oh, well, if you got 3 boxes, and not one, 3 boxes of matches. They said, were there any matches in the boxes? Yup. Oh, I guess that's how you could light a fire. And then you got the lighter for backup, just in case. Goose is cooked. That was my view with the jacket, because now, like, whoo, they went the surveillance video almost the rest of the day. Tracked those, Sade and old Max Anderson, tracked them all the way from the time that they arrived, each respectively, at Twisted Fisherman. That's the first bar tavern where they get to drinking and shots, and sobriety would be best. And then they go to Duke's, another white tavern where they get to drinking and beer pong, and sobriety would be best. And then they go to his residence, and they got the cameras tracking them through the city, the cameras that are on the poles and resident ring door cameras and all that, tracking them all the way back to their residence. Boop. Following the phone pings and all that. Boop. Sade right there. Ping on his phone right there. And then you see her vehicle leaving his residence, and then they track her vehicle and her phone all over the county as they're driving around, probably with him going out to chop her up and dump her remains in Lake Michigan, and then throughout the rest of Milwaukee County in the Nigra area. That's important too. He burned the car in the Nigra area. We went there yesterday. That's what I said. Like, it's in constant counter-racist grind. We went there yesterday. Burned the car. Even the geography of that. Those 2 scenes are not close at all. Where that leg washed up and where we think he dismembered the body in Warnemont Park, if you pull up the map from Milwaukee County, Warnemont Park is not even in Milwaukee. Now, it's really close. You can get there, no problem. But I mean, it's not Milwaukee. That is Cudahy. Totally different city. He went down there, we think, chopped it. They got it on camera. The car going down, then all the rest, figure going in the woods. Think that's him. Went all the way down there, chopped up that body, I think, threw out the remains and what have you. That's how they ended up having the body go from that scene and then south, going with the current from Lake Michigan. Probably even why they don't have a lot of evidence, because the rain and the current could wash everything away. Even use that to bring a bar of soap he could clean up too. Right down there, got water. And then he gets back in the vehicle and goes on his way to go trek, and then he burns the car down. But that car is burned way up here, way up. I told you, they put the Negras in the north part of Milwaukee. It is like night and day, man. We went down to Cudahy to go to Warnemont Park. Jesus Christ. What my T word? Transmogrification. It was like Harry Potter or somebody came out and sprinkled the Negra dust on everything, and woo, poof. No more trash, rubbish, liquor stores, Newport cigarettes, all that, poof. Now we got trees, grass, green, trash bins. We don't have all that. We don't throw down trash where race soldiers live. And if we do, we get city maintenance to come clean it up promptly. But, oh my, is this still Wisconsin? What? Where? What? Oh, we're in Cudahy. I'm not, man. What? I said immediately once we crossed, I said, do Negras live in? You just stop asking dumb questions. That they don't let no Leroy's in Cudahy. That's where he goes to do the leg. He comes out and goes way back north to go burn the vehicle and drop more remains. Some of it next to a playground. An unkempt playground that does not look like Warnemont Park. The geography of white supremacy, racism, geography of the local system of white supremacy, racism. In fact, I bet you if you did an overlay of where in the north he dropped the remains, I bet all those folks got bad water too. Poisoned water. You go outside, kids can't even go to the playground and play. Got skulls and human, well, not skulls, but got human remains popping up. Come inside, got to be thirsty because you can't even drink the water. That is Milwaukee. Hell. Let's see. So the jacket, let me see the lame cross-examination about the jacket. They say, man, you didn't see Max Anderson put that jacket in the dumpster. No, I didn't. There is no camera pointing to the trash can. Well, you didn't find that jacket till April the 10th. Might even been the 11th. One of those 2 days. Max got arrested on April the 4th. So you know he couldn't have went out there and snuck it in the dumpster then. That's true. That's true. And I didn't see him put it in the dumpster. That's your jacket, buddy. Even that. So you want me to believe that somebody else, and the owner of that trash can said, nope, that ain't mine, and I ain't put that in there. You want me to believe, us, whoever 12 ends up on the jury, even 12 white people, you want us to believe somebody else with an identical jacket to the one he was seen wearing came and threw it in a dumpster next to his house at the exact moment when he's accused of killing a black female wearing said jacket? Are you out of your flipping mind? No, that is not reasonable doubt at all. I'll say the same thing I said then. Your goose is cooked. Make sure I didn't miss anything cool on the cross-examination, because they did not have nothing other than you didn't see him put it in the trash. No, we didn't see him put it in the trash. Didn't Public Works, didn't they come and dump the trash on the 8th? Yes. They came and emptied the trash on the 8th, at least in theory, because he did testify, the white officer, that, hey, if the can is empty, sometimes they empty it, sometimes they don't. And also, importantly, he testified that there was material stuck to the bottom of the can. So it could have just been this was thrown in prior to Max being arrested, even prior to the trash being dumped. Somehow, maybe the creator was looking out and that jacket just didn't fall into the dumpster. And or maybe the Public Works folks were a little lazy and just said, oh, this can is empty. Keep it moving. Either or, I think it is very likely that's what happened. Max, being slick, he went out and threw everything else out and thought and he almost did, got away clean. They never found the backpack and all the rest of it, or her skull at this point. But just one. And an important one, too, because the one with the matches. Oh, and there was a knife in that jacket, too. Now, it wasn't one of the large butcher knives. They showed pictures of the search of Max's residence today, and he had knives, got like all kind of hatchets, knives, firearm, like, woo. He had a knife in the bedroom. That's the sort of thing right there. I told you, I heard numerous black females say, psh. What did I learn from Sade Robinson? No dating white boys. And I'm not even saying Leroy is the coolest. First time, last time for Leroy, too. But in the system of white supremacy racism, no dating white boys. That's what I heard over and over. I got no problem with saying no dating white girls, but that's not what they were saying. I'm quoting what I was told. I don't put the gender on it. I say no sexual activity with white people. That covers everything. If you want to get some of what they say, it's Pride Month. We got the LGBTQ. Yeah. No sexual activity with white people. Leave it at that. Now, I heard ain't no dating white boys. Might have a butcher knife hidden in the bedroom. That alone, that's what I mean. Like, we do not understand what it means to be white. How many of you all got a butcher knife hidden in the bedroom? And it seemed like he had knives just hidden all over the house, like strange knives. He had one knife that had like a bird beak on it. How many knives do you need? Even in the kitchen, like, I don't know if this dude was like a gourmet chef and he was in there doing like sushi and, I know they do cheese here, so I don't know, but I mean, he had a rack of them. They said he had over 50 knives. Like, put a number on it. I don't have to. He had over 50 knives. How many of you all out there have over 50 knives? And some of these, like a cleaver, an axe. He had, I don't even know if that counted in the 50. He had an axe on the wall. That's what I mean. We do not. You put Gus T's name at the top of the list. This ain't no blaming Sade at all. She was a victim. But what I am saying, Neely Fuller Jr., there's a reason he had that at the front of the book. All of his books. If you do not understand racism, what it is, how it works, everything else will confuse you. If you do not understand white people, and clearly the evidence, we, non-white people, we do not understand what it means to be white. That can be a fatal error frequently. And you have sometimes once to make that error. Once. They said they did tests on all the knives. No blood found on any of the knives. Probably wouldn't have kept them in the house. All of them, I submit, all the materials that he used for the dismemberment were probably in the backpack that has never been recovered. I could be in error about that. The shoes, all of that. Anywho, and they had pictures where there was a trailer out front of his property. Apparently, his white parents, who had been in the courtroom, they came and moved out a lot of material shortly after the arrest. So, who knows? The house had already been searched 3 times at that point. So, if the police did an adequate job, they should not have missed anything at that point. But anyway, so the jacket, like I said, make sure I didn't miss anything from the jacket cross-examination. Yep, they didn't find any cameras. Oh, and the detective, whose name Vincent Lopez with the Milwaukee Police Department, white, I believe. Actually, he might be a non-white person. You'll have to look. Maybe that'll be one. Do you think Vincent Lopez, who importantly recovered the jacket in this case, do you think this is a white man? I think he might be a non-white person. Last name Lopez. Not that they have white people in Mexico too, but I think he might be. He looked a little tawny to me. I didn't write it down. I've coded my witnesses, and so I'll put their racial classification. I didn't even write it down for him, so I must have been racially ambiguous, but I'm going to say non-white. But you can let me know if you think Vincent Lopez. Do you think, and this is an important witness because I got the jacket. He said he saw this jacket when they first went through and searched the trash cans on April 9th. They had Max in custody on April 4th last year. He said, but he had not seen the video footage of what Max was wearing on April 2, the morning, presumably, of the murders and the morning of the arson for sure. He hadn't seen what clothing he was wearing, but once he saw it, he said, "Oh man, I saw that jacket in the trash." And then they went back and looked, and it was still there, thankfully. And so they were able to get it out, retrieve it, all of that. Now, I was waiting on the edge of my seat, as were apparently many of the females who, a scent of perfume. This is one of the time where I got grabbed, so that's how I got it. We were all waiting. She came and she said, "Did you hear them say that they had DNA evidence on the jacket?" And I said, "I did not. I didn't hear that challenged, asked about, questioned, nothing." Like I said, I was even thinking, why don't they make him put it on, see if it fits? Anyway, he has lost weight. I will say that. They have his weight from the time that he was booked, and it was at, I think, 180, 175. He looks like he's lost quite a bit of weight. And I mean, hey, he's been locked up, so it's not like he can go out and go to the bar and drink all the beer he wants and eat all the fried chicken and grits, cheese that he wants here in Dairyland. So that might be, and the stress of all this, I might be locked up for the rest of my life. So might cause you to lose a pound or two, and he looks like he has lost, I would say, more than 10 pounds from the time that he was arrested to what he looks like now. So the jacket might fit a little different, but I mean, they could even say that. They could even say, hey, his booking weight was 180. His weight now is, could be 160. Could have lost 20 pounds. So, hey, that jacket might fit a little different at this point. Let's see. Did they have anything else on the cross-examination for the jacket? Yes, see, I got that with a question mark. Did they test this for DNA? Are they going to test this for DNA? Let us know something. They tested the matches for fingerprints, but they didn't have any fingerprints, so that was not helpful at all. Can't put it in the. Can't say Max put the jacket in the trash. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think they really had anything to refute that jacket, because they could have said, hey, Jack, you ever owned a jacket? See, he's not going to take the stand because they could just say, did you ever own a jacket like this? Is that your jacket? Did you put it in? Nah. Get on that. I don't want to do any of that. Let's see. Other important. Oh, my God. There was so I told you the one with these are just kind of throwaway things that were said that I thought were important, but they're not really like relevant to the, verdict. The one was Max worked at Twisted Fisherman. Even the names of some of these about Twisted Fisherman. He worked at Twisted Fisherman for 3 weeks. Even his former housemate had testified that this dude couldn't keep a job, and I thought he lied about his employment history and all the rest of it. Then, witness said, make sure I get his correct name, because I wrote it down with, I didn't, incredulity, or I don't even know what to say. Let me make sure I get the correct name for the fella. Let's see. Okay. Tim Sluga, Duke's managing partner. This is a white man. I didn't have any confusion there. Tim told us he had known Max. They weren't best friends or anything, but he had known him. And he said that Max had been a patron at Duke's for 20 years. I said, what? Wait a minute. And he said Max was so informed that he congratulated Tim, because I think the business switched ownership. He was like, oh, congratulations, you just taken over the place, boom, boom, boom. Whoopee. Okay. But he said Max has been a patron for 20 years. I hope to God I heard that wrong. I'm going to have to go back and get the audio or video and see with closed captioning so I can see. Did he say he has been a patron for 20 years? Max is 34 years old. If he's been a patron at Duke's Bar for 20 years, that means he has been going there getting shots and bruised since he was 14 years old. I would have maybe said, wait a minute, is this white dude lying? Are y'all like he's just coming up here saying anything? Like, good and well, Max was not at the bar at 14 getting shots. Pause. Gus, have you heard any other people here talk about being 14 or 15 at the bar here doing shots? Yep. What kind of goofy ass place is this? Hell. I guess you don't card Sade at 19. Like, she's practically an elder. Like, what the hell? It wouldn't have even meant anything to me if I hadn't heard other people just within day. I didn't even know that was coming. And said, oh yeah, these bars around here, people I've been sitting with. They said, oh yeah, I was going to the bar when I was 15. 15? They won't even let you vote at the. You can't even go and cast a ballot for old Beezy at 15. You can get Mad Dog 2020 in Wisconsin. I swear to God, I hope I'm wrong. I can just come. I was cooning. I was dozing off. Anything. I fell asleep. Anything. And just, it ain't say Max been at the bar for no 20. But then too, I said, wait a minute. I ain't coon too much because Max does have a criminal record for underage drinking. I told Sheena before I even got to Wisconsin, Sheena Scarborough is Sade's mother. I said she did tell me to call her Sheena, and most of the time I've still refused, and I just say Miss Scarborough. But I've told Miss Scarborough repeatedly, I told her when I was still in Seattle, Max Anderson has been drinking corn liquor longer than Sade Robinson has been alive. I said that when I was in Washington. That white man got on the stand and said, yep, Max, he's been patient here for about 20 years. What in the hell? I can't even, it should have been criminal charges for everybody coming off that bench like, and give me that liquor license, Mr. Slick, give me that liquor license right now. Right now. Y'all better not serve another sip of Jack Daniels in Duke's, Twisted Fisherman, none of them. Get out of here, all of them. I told you, what's the baseball team name here? Brewers. I said, seem like y'all don't do nothing in this area but drink liquor and run over black people. Yep. We do some chopping up from time to time, but mostly drink liquor, run over black people. Hell. Let's see. They said my sick white brother, Max, they said he lived in a Polish flat. I don't know what that is. A Polish flat in Milwaukee. That's what they call the place where, matter of fact, they got 2 days of phrases. Yesterday, they said that this is a working class neighborhood. They said that before I went there, and I wrote that down. Working class what does that? What? Now, I already told you I used my T word. When we went to Cudahy, I said, oh, Lord, the world has transmogrified. Look at that. We got trees. Ain't no more trash. Look at that. Look. It ain't unkempt no more. They kept using that word for the parks where the niggers are and the playgrounds where the niggers are. They're unkempt. Made it hard for us to get evidence. And he sometimes made it hard for us to get Sade's remains sometimes. So unkempt. They don't say that about where Max Anderson, is unkempt down here. Even though he lives in Milwaukee, but it's South Milwaukee. They don't say that about Cudahy either. Wow, it's so dirty and unkempt. No, it's clean. But yesterday, they said it was a working class neighborhood. Today, and yesterday, that was the defense attorney, I believe, Mr. Cotton, said that if it wasn't Mr. Cotton, it was his partner, fellow white man defense attorney. This is a working class neighborhood. And then he was talking about because the houses are close together. He was trying to imply that, hey, if Max is over here dismembering and chopping and cutting folks up and things, surely his neighbors would have heard something. I don't think he did all the chopping and the dismembering there. I think he probably just carted Sade's body away quietly that evening. He's a big dude. He's a big dude that way bigger than her, and they show that on the video. He could have easily stuffed her in a vehicle, trunk, whatever, and drove off, and they would have known nothing. Plus, he left, I think it was like 12:40, something close to 1 o'clock at night. Very easily could have made. They showed him manipulating the lights, so he could have tiptoed right out in the dark. It was raining and all that, so he easily could have tipped out, threw her in the trunk, car, whatever, and boop, we dipped. They showed on video he had the rear window in the vehicle, in her vehicle. He had it covered anyway, so easily could have done all of that undetected. But anyway, working class neighborhood, he said yesterday, and I told you I was doing research. We went to Max Anderson's house. Man, I don't know what no working class neighborhood is. Now, that's true. These houses don't have, 50 acres of land. You're not going to be able to go out and put, a football field in your front or back lawn. They don't have that much space. But these are really nice houses. You can tell this is not no poor, dilapidated neighborhood at all. This looks like a really well-off neighborhood, and it doesn't look like there are a whole lot of black people who live not where Max Anderson lives. I'm not saying it's white exclusive, but it doesn't look like it's nearly as many black people as where he set Sade Robinson's car on fire in North Milwaukee. And then a Polish flag. What does that even mean? What's a Polish flag? What? And I know they got so-called ethnic whites here. That's a part of their brats and German whites and all that. What? A Polish flat? They'd have to break that. I wish so much of course about words and maybe making people explain things. They spit that today like everybody in the world. Oh yes, Polish flag. Yes, Polish flag. Continue, white brother. Let's see. Let me give out the number 76720-716-7300. The code 564-943#. Press star 61. If folks have thought, question to share as we kind of move through the trial. Folks have been paying attention or talking to this. Certainly, I think this is one. It's only 2 weeks. You should watch this. If you have offspring, if I had a black female child, summer is coming up to, their summer might be ruined because they might have to watch this whole trial for their summer. It's not that long. It might end up just being exactly 2 weeks. You got a whole summer. You could watch like 1-2 days of trial, like per week over the summer, write a report. What is the information? What did you think? Did they have enough evidence for a conviction? What do you think about all of this? What are some of the ways that the Sades of the world, our young black females, what are some of the things that they can do to keep themselves safe in a system of white supremacy? What are some of the tips for dating safely in a system of white supremacy? I even said, hey, do we reconsider dating at 19 for the boys and the girls? Maybe we got bigger priorities at 19, 20. Maybe we don't even need to date right now because it's so dangerous and we're so stupid. And I mean all of us. Gus T, so stupid. Why are we so stupid? Because we do not understand what it means to be white. As such, we're so stupid. Hey, we don't even need to do no date. I need to get some more information in my brain computer so I can make great decisions. I see some old Mac sneaking around. Whoa, get away from my glass, too. Whoa, back up at the new. No, I ain't going no Twisted Fisherman. I ain't going no Dukes. I ain't doing no. They back up off me, matter of fact. We ain't got nothing to talk about. Beat it. I got studying to do. I got to read. I got to research. I got serious things that I don't have no time for. And then I'm going to get sleep. Go see if I can get 9 hours of rest tonight. I don't have time to be hanging out. If you want to do some hanging out, maybe I'll meet you at the police station for about 30 minutes and talk about what books you've read this week. That doesn't sound interesting? Oh, well, okay, no problem. we keep it pushing. We keep it pushing. We knew that. What did I learn from Sade? They told me, say, hey, I don't date white boys. Quick when you throw that out as a reminder. What you mean? You're not about love? for Sade. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, you know they're not all Max. Well, I can't pick out which one is Max, which one is Jeff Dahmer, which one is Jeff Epstein. So I just said, forget it. I don't date white boys. Appreciate you, Sade. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Person in 9456. If you had commentary, should be with us. 9456.
Greetings, Mr. Renegade. This is Fred Douglas.
Yes, sir.
I was listening to you talk about Detective Lopez, and I think he would be classified as non-white. I was looking on the website for Fox 6. They had photos of some of the witnesses, and he appeared to be too dark compared to the other white people, and he had the same complexion as Detective Andrew Sullivan, who appears to be a non-white black male, possibly with a white parent. So I'm going to say Detective Lopez is non-white. I did listen to some of the trial today. I couldn't focus on all of it because I was working. But I think it was the jacket that was mentioned that had flecks of blood, and I believe the witness described that some of these flecks were the size of the eraser on the end of a pencil. I may be mistaken about that, but that's what I thought I heard. Regarding the knives that were found in Maxwell Anderson's home, I recalled that they said that 51 were found just in his kitchen alone, and then more were found in other parts of the house. One of the knives you mentioned about seemed to be made from parts of a chicken with feathers and the head and beak. And I was wondering, has there been any discussion that you've heard about Sade Robinson's murder being part of some sort of satanic or occult sacrifice? What I've seen, at least in my observation, satanic things go hand in hand, a part of white supremacy culture. It doesn't necessarily have to be directly involved in that kind of thing, but I just wondered if that's been discussed. You mentioned about the Polish flat. That was new to me too, and I had to look that up. And according to Wikipedia, it's a two-family home with separate entrances, with the units stacked on top of one another instead of side by side. And it said that most of this type were constructed in the early 20th century, and that they're common in Milwaukee. They're also known as the German duplex or stacked cottage. I was also wondering, have you had a chance to speak to the family's attorney, the attorney for Sade Robinson's estate, Ms. Verona Swanigan, about anything? There also was a discussion today about the female clothes found in Anderson's home. This was not focused on since these didn't belong to Sade Robinson, but I didn't know if you had heard any speculation about those clothes and where that might have come from. And I had another question, too, about Maxwell Anderson. So is he supposed to be a suave man, a funny man? They mentioned in his house there were some papers that Anderson had written some jokes on. And that was surprising. I was not aware of that until they mentioned that. And as has been mentioned before, he's not a handsome man. He's not the same like some of the other white men killers we've discussed, like Ted Bundy or Michael Swango or even Jeff Dahmer. And then I was wondering if you could just restate the timeline for when Sade Robinson was supposed to be killed, because I guess I am missing between Dukes and the burning of the car, and I know there's more involved in there. I don't know if that's been expressed in the trial yet or not, but if you could, if there is more information, if you could share that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Much obliged, sir. I guess with the timeline, as I understand it, and some of this just because they have such immaculate video detail to track all of this. There's surveillance footage of Sade Robinson, Maxwell Anderson leaving Duke's bar, restaurant, whatever you want to call it, after their rounds of beer pong with other white people and all the rest of it. You see them leaving just after 9 p.m. the night of April 1st. Phone records, surveillance cameras track. They are in both traveling in Sade Robinson's car together, and I think we watched them leave. We watched the surveillance camera of them leaving Duke's restaurant today in court, get into her vehicle, and drive to his residence. Her cell phone data shows that's where she went, to rate of speed, all of that. So they go to his place. They get there like 9:30. They give the exact time from the phone and all that. We'll say like 9:30ish, something after 9 p.m. So they go there. They're at his residence for 3 hours. Now, just today, we watched surveillance footage from across the street showing the front of Maxwell Anderson's residence, and you can see the light on and the part of the unit where he stays. And so you can see silhouettes of what appears to be two people at around 9, 10 o'clock. You can see the silhouettes, two people moving. And then at a certain point, now you're seeing one person. You see one person go outside, come back in. At portly around midnight, you see someone, a silhouette that's tall. It's important he towers over her. Sade is barely 5 feet. He's over 6 feet tall. Someone who is about the same height as the fence, which is about 6 feet, is seen outside manipulating the light, which is motion activated, and turning it off. Now, even that, how suspicious. One of the people in this house ends up dead, and the one person who's alive and last seen with her, it seems they're manipulating the light outside, which I said before. Hey, if he's just going to take her out, even if she's already deceased at this point, you turn the light off, you creep out. He's a big dude. At that time, he's about 180 pounds, way bigger than her. He could easily put her in the car, trunk, whatever, and we're gone. It was cold, it was rainy, it was windy that night, so it's not like it was a silent, still night where you could have heard. No, it was rain, it was windy, so you would already just have ambient noise to help cover up some of that sound if you're asleep or watching TV or not looking out the side of your window at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you probably could get away with that and be unseen. Anyway, the video and Sade's phone records show the vehicle, Sade's Honda Civic, leaving Maxwell Anderson's residence at approximately like 12:45, might even be 12:47. I think they said 12:47 on the dot in court. And from that point, her phone records show them driving, moving throughout Milwaukee County. I think it's at approximately like a little before 3 a.m., call it 2:40, 2:45, somewhere in there. They have video of Sade Robinson's vehicle ramming the gate at Wanamont Park, descending. It's a really steep ramp and then going down on the beach. This is where they found the leg of Sade Robinson on April 2. So that would be later that day. They're going to find her leg on this beach. And you can see a silhouette of somebody moving around on the beach area. He's down there for about an hour. You can see the camera picks up his vehicle as it's exiting. So he's down there, I think, over an hour. He's down in this really secluded area where you can't be seen, no lights, beach is right there. And importantly, over the next 3-4 weeks, all the way into June, Sade Robinson's remains are going to wash up from this beach and south, being carried south by the currents of Lake Michigan all the way into Illinois. Anderson leaves. We think in Sade Robinson's vehicle, we think she's deceased at this point. He leaves the park. I think it's at around close to 4-ish. And import heads north. If you look on the map, you'll see Wanamont Park is in south Milwaukee County. He leaves. He heads north, and they pull out a map and show using surveillance camera footage and tracking the vehicle all over Milwaukee, over Milwaukee County, and eventually Milwaukee, where you can see him driving through the various streets. I have them written down. If I knew the city, if I grew up here, I'd know all the boom, 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 where he goes through these major thoroughfares once he gets north on the city and is seemingly driving around, dropping remains. I have to add, because one of the people in the gallery made this point, like, man, this dude is driving around at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning in a car that has significant damage to the front end, where he drove in, cracked the gate, like he left pieces of the vehicle all on the ground and cracked the front fender and everything, like substantial damage to the front of the car. The side mirror is broken. It's literally dangling off, and there's a blanket covering up the back rear view mirror. Excuse me, not rear mirror. There's a blanket or object covering the rear driver window of this vehicle as he's driving around doing all this peculiar stuff at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You got Leroy, particularly Leroy, and Lakeisha. They're out hands on 10 and 2 insurance, registration, license, and it's noon, and you pull them up. What are you doing? Are you stealing? Are you raping? Where's the crack at? No. You got to go through all this, Sandra Bland. You got to go through all this. This dude done killed somebody probably and got a head in the car, who knows what, and he got to drive around all this time, nothing. I did think that was soup because I had totally forgot. Like, that's right. The passenger side mirror it's just dangling. Like, you can see it on multiple cameras. The side mirror is dangling, front damage. He's probably drunk too. Like, man. Anyway, so you can see him driving around like 4:35. Cameras are picking him up, all that. So as he gets closer to 6:30, that's where you can see him on the north end. He starts venturing. I think it's 30. I was just there yesterday. I forgot the cross street. It's like 31st and I just forgot the cross street. 31st and something. This is North Milwaukee. He goes to a vacant lot. The building's been destroyed, but it's a vacant lot next to a liquor store where they put the niggers at. But that liquor store did have a camera. That was part of what got him. He goes there, parks the car. It's like 6:45, 7-ish when he ignites the fire. You can see him leaving, walking away. So that's the time. I don't know if you needed that much detail, but that's the timeline for the death. So it's presumed. Importantly, she was last seen alive with Max Anderson at Duke's April 1st, 9 p.m. approximately, and then they leave and go to his house. She's never seen alive again. So you can start the clock right there, and then you can take it to, I guess, hey, you can take it all the way to when they found the leg later that day, April 2. I think that afternoon, if memory serves. I think it was that afternoon, but I'd have it in my notes. So you could take it out to there, or you could stop it somewhere around 7. I would submit by the time her car is on fire, I would submit that she's deceased at that point. So 9 p.m. April 1 to, let's say, 7 a.m. April 2. That would be the timeline of somewhere in there we think she was killed and her remains dispersed. The female clothes, I think that had been pretty widely reported about there were female clothes at Max Anderson's residence, but they were not Sade Robinson's. That has also added to a lot of speculation that he's done this before, which I've heard from many, 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 many people. They obviously don't have enough evidence of that, or he would be charged. But many people do think that for a lot of reasons, that being one. I don't think they stayed on it very long in the trial because it's not Sade, so it's not relevant. Did I speak to Miss Flanagan, who is the attorney for Sade Robinson's civil? Kind of. What I mean, kind of. So she has been in court often, although she's not working on this case. She's just been there to support and as an observer. So I've been there every day, and she's been there almost every day. So we've had pleasantries. I haven't tried to interview or anything. But today we were hanging out in lunch. I was the only dude in a group of, it was one other black male. So it was like, I don't know, maybe 8 of us. We were hanging out, and they were asking different questions about what type of law she does and her practice and all the rest of it. So I was a part of this group dialogue. And it was so funny because she was giving out her phone number and everything. I could have just pulled out my phone and got her number like, oh, yeah, I could talk to her later. But, I mean, she's there every day. I'm there every day. So I felt like I can just nab her tomorrow or whenever. But, yeah, she was just there today. I sat and listened to her talk about her representation for the civil case. I don't even think she's going to have to do very much because I think if they get a conviction in this case, all of those bars, because they got video of them, the flipping bartenders are pushing shots on her, and I'm like, it's the most disgusting thing ever. Cut the check. There's no need to go to court. There's nothing to dispute. Cut a check, and that's it. Like I was thinking, Miss Scarborough, she should be so wealthy. She should have all kinds of property. There should be all kinds of businesses and streets and things named after Sade, because she'll own a good chunk of Milwaukee after this is done. Like, just cut the check. Let's not waste any more court time. Like, civil trial for the family, bang, check. Civil trial for Twisted Fisherman, bang, cut the check. Civil trial for Dukes, bang, cut the check. Just keep rolling. Checks, 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 and more checks. So, yes, kind of. I've talked to her, not in depth. The flecks of blood, if I may correct, there were no flecks of blood on the jacket, because we would have really wigged out if that were the case. Those flecks, and I know specifically because they were talking about the sofa and inside the residence where they had these flecks of blood that were tested. And this became a big to-do today because every day basically we get a break at 10 a.m. That's like 10, 15 minutes. It happened today like it does all the others. We went to take our break, and they kick the jury out, and they'll say, so, prosecution, any issues that you need to address with the court? No. Defense, any issues? No. That's the way it normally goes. That's not what happened today. Today, they said, okay, now we have a stipulation. We have made an agreement about the blood evidence in the residence, not the jacket. We've made an agreement because the blood was not Sade's. It's kind of the same thing with the clothes. It's not really relevant because it's not hers. So, since that's the case, we don't really need to bring it up. We can just, you all did test. This is what you were looking for, and we can fast forward through all of that since it didn't test to Sade's. They had made an agreement about this. The defense, in my opinion, not Mr. Cotton, you have to forgive me, I have to write his name down. It probably reflects a little bit on my lack of professionalism and my opinion of the defense second attorney, that I know Anthony Cotton's name. I have not made it a point of writing down the second defense attorney's name because I think he does such a poor job. Today was a brilliant illustration. We had just we didn't do anything. We just observed. But he and the other attorneys and the judge, they had just sat down and gone over, okay, we made this agreement between all of the attorneys. So this is what we'll talk about in terms of the blood test for the house, and this is what we'll leave out. Don't need to bring all that up and get into the minutia of it. This is what we have mutual agreement on in terms of facts, and we can just move forward quickly. Great. Okay, we go take our break. We come back in, and I think at max, 60 minutes has passed. Max. Lame defense attorney gets up, Finlayson or whatever is. I have to get it down so I can be more professional, but oh my God, I feel like they give him all the junior tasks. If it's a witness that's not that important, whatever, okay, you can do this one. You can't mess up too much. Man, he got up today. He was so disorganized and jumped. All of the people around me were just like, what is going on? I was literally hearing people say that I would be so mad if I had paid money for him to defend me. You don't even have your exhibits together. What is going on? And he had a bunch. He had all these pictures that he was trying to go. I think this was about the jacket. I think he was talking to Detective Lopez, who we think is non-white. He's getting all these pictures together to try and contest this. And oh my God, he is stumbling and fumbling and messing. I just said, this is why I have not taken the time to write your name down, sir, because wow, you are so worthless and inept. On top of it, he breaks the breach. Now, we don't realize this initially, but he breaks the agreement and starts talking about the blood sample. They get to the end. They boot the jury out. We're about to leave. And say, are there any issues? Prosecution speaks up immediately. Yes, there is an issue. Defense has broken the breach. Now we got to have a sidebar. It's like, what? Oh, that was how it happened. As soon as he said it, the defense attorney, the prosecution realized, like, what? We weren't even supposed to be going into all the details of blood. Your Honor, we need to have a sidebar. So we're like, uh-oh. When they do the sidebar, if the jury is still there, they just go over to the side and talk. Oh, they went in the chambers. That was what it was. They went in the judge's chambers. So it's super serious. They go in, talk about all this. They come back out. Once we get to the break for lunch, the jury leaves, and then they go into, we made an agreement. The defense broke the agreement. Since they did, now we're going into all the details about the blood sample that we did find blood and blah, 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 and it wasn't Sade's and blah, 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 because they didn't hold to the agreement, so now we're going to go into more detail about it, which they did afterwards on both sides. But there was no blood specks, at least to what I've heard thus far, there were no blood specks on the jacket. They said it was saturated with rain. As I said, we were upset because they didn't even say if they did DNA testing on it, from what I heard. But the blood specks were in the residence, not Sade. But they did add, they did not do DNA testing of the red couch in Max Anderson's house because they have pictures of Sade on the red couch. Therefore, you don't need DNA evidence if you have video that, oh, well, that's Sade. We don't need a confirmation. More to come because we have yet to see the photographs of Sade on the couch. I'm told they're dramatic, so they might be saving that for whammo. Your goose is cooked. Lock him up. Let's see. Yes, there were 51 knives. Gave the exact number. I said over 50. He was more precise. 51 knives, and he said in the kitchen specifically. I said he had knives throughout the house. I don't even know if that axe counted as one of the knives. I guess that's not a knife, so that's not in that number. And then they were hidden. He had them like hidden in the bedroom and everything. Pfft, man, anybody out there, you can let us know if you have knives hidden in your house or if you have more than 50 knives in your kitchen. I do not. The satanic, is this a part of? I've heard people say that Jeffrey Dahmer did have satanic books and such, as did Michael Swango. I have not heard. I thought they said that evidence was coming today, but I did not see anything. I was looking hard. I did not really see anything in the residence at this point that looked satanic, ritualistic, something of that sort. I didn't see that. Not to say we have more to come, so stay tuned. The Polish flat, that explanation makes perfect sense because that's what this is not the typical vertical duplex. As he said, it's a horizontal duplex. One separate unit is on top and the other unit is below, as opposed to the typical setup is one would be on the left and then one would be on the right. That's not how this is. So I did not know. That's a very technical name for a type of how, and even what I said, the white ethnic group Germans and such in the area, wacky. But as I said, maybe I'm the only ignorant person there who did not know, oh, that is a specific type of duplex, because sometimes they have called this a duplex before. They just didn't say it is a horizontal duplex or a Polish flat. They didn't call it that. They just called it a duplex, which it is. Oh, was that it? Did I miss any of the questions, sir?
What about the papers that he had, were like the jokes or whatever? Is there any mention of him being some sort of comedian or anything like that?
I've not heard anyone call him a comedian. Now, his houseplate in the Polish flat, his housemate, Pete Worthington, I think that's how you say his name, he testified yesterday that this dude would come home from the bar with his friends and they would be singing, 99 bottles of beer on the ball until 5 in the morning and karaoke and all that. So I guess if you say that's being a comedian, he would do that sort of thing. Other than that, I have not heard anyone talk about what a funny guy he is, or he told great, like, all in terms of occupation, all I've heard is bartender. He was a bartender in the community. That's what Mr. Cotton said. And everyone has kind of just talked about what a lame dude he is. Like, not trustworthy. He worked here for 3 weeks. We didn't kick it that much. He left dog feces in the unit. Like, I have not heard any. He's got a lengthy criminal record. Like, I have not heard anyone talk about, wow, he was so funny, and oh man, he just keeps you in stitches, and it's just giggles a mile with old. I've not heard that from anybody. What was the other one?
No, that's it.
Why not? Did the timeline, does that make sense, or did that part seem confusing? The timeline part for the murder?
No, that was helpful. I had I got mixed up after they left Duke's, and then when they got to the Warnemont Park, I wasn't quite sure in that area there. So thank you.
Yeah, you could watch today. You can see as much video as you like of them leave. Yesterday would be the entire time that they were at Duke's, so you can watch them play beer pong and hug white people, hug each other, all that. And then today you can watch them leave Duke's, get in her car, and they track the car back to his residence. And then they have like cameras from across the street that show you the property and presumably them in it. And then they show you when the car leaves. You have to go back earlier in the trial to see them track the car leaving. I think that was like day one of the trial when they showed the car ramming the gate at Warnemont Park and then leaving, and that whole morning, because that was connected to the art. That was like the first part when they did the arson. So a lot of this is like day one when they're doing the arson and showing where the car went. But yeah, watch today, and you can see Duke's to his house, and then all the stuff that they did at his house up until like 12:47 on April 2nd. To get all the clarity you need. They spent lots of time on that today, and more to come. In fact, lots more, because we didn't see what were they doing in the house. Apparently, there are some pictures. Where are they? More to come. Let's see. Person who dialed in. Oh, man, I can confirm. Okay. Miss Scarborough did get the tea. She said she checked her P.O. box a few days ago. She got the tea. I was literally talking to her on the phone 2 days ago. So she burst open the tea. She got the lavender. And she said, "What the hell? What?" She looked at it and she said, "I drink Lipton. I don't even know what this is. What have you? Oh, Lord." I laughed for the longest because I thought it was so funny. And then after she asked me to stop laughing at her, I said, "Whew, I think if you have tea bags, because they have tea bags, you could just dump it in there and rock and roll. Even if you don't have tea bags, you could probably just filter it and keep it pushed." She said, "Oh, okay, I have filter and blah, blah, blah." She said, "Man, I don't even do tea like this. What is going on?" She said, "I've done Lipton. That's it. I don't even drink tea. I just do Lipton." And she said, two of them, she looked at the other one. I forgot that it was like peach, pea, something. I forgot the name of it. I was like, "Oh, wow, I don't even know what that is." So I had to Google it, and I was reading all the qualities where it would lower stress and anxiety. I was like, "Oh, man, I need some of that." And she was like, I don't even know how to use, like, what? And then I laughed even more because I was like, "Oh, wow. I brought tea, yerba mate, my favorite, of course, had a monstrous serving today. So I brought lots of reusable tea bags because I didn't want to pack my French press." So I said, "Oh, man, I got you. I'll bring you some tea bags so you can do it. But in the interim, you can use your filter to strain the real lavender from the tea." But as a non-tea drinker, Miss Scarborough was very shook getting real. I was like, wow, she hooked it up. Like, she got the expensive good stuff. Like, she was not ready for the loose leaf tea experience, but she now has tea bags and ready to roll. I can verify that she took pictures. She did make a brew of lavender tea, and she even got real uppity about it. She made a large cup of lavender tea and then made a lavender bath to have the tea. That is exactly what Ivory wanted. Right on.
Well, I'm a snap for that. I'm just glad to hear that it made it because the way I saw it in the picture, how they left the package, it was right on top of everybody else's. And I know they did it so it wouldn't get crushed, but I was like, oh, Lord, that don't look secure. You know what I'm saying? I was like, please don't let nobody take this lady's stuff. I'm very happy to hear that. I called in real quick to show support another day for the trial. I didn't get to watch today, but I'm listening to your highlights and everything. But one thing that I don't know if it'll make a difference or not at this point. I just want to suggest to other people, if you're on YouTube or if you're on social media, to link the trial, because I'm not upset, but I'm like, ugh, this is not where our attention should be. And I kind of feel like, was this racist timing to have that particular trial happening in New York around or at the same time as Sade's, the murder trial, and people are not aware of this even remotely. They're talking about that other trial and some other nonsense, and then there's something else I'll bring up later when you have another compensatory call in, whenever that is. There's something that we're being diverted to. So what I've been doing is going and linking the trial, Sade's murder trial, to the social media or the live chat or the other places to try to get attention to it. And I just want to make that suggestion, maybe if people can do it, to do it, because this is something, victims of racism, particularly young females, we need attention drawn to this so there can be education or understanding of the system and dating or trying to date, attempting, safety, the gift of fear, the wisdom of psychopaths, whatever it is, all that. And that was really it. I'm doing everything I can to support in a material way and spiritually. I got a place on my altar for Sade. I hope that's not saying too much, but it's just the fact I put foundations out because she's an ancestor now, and just asking for divine help so that he can be put away for the rest of his life and 3 more times after that. So I'm glad to hear she got the tea. I wouldn't have thought of having the bath, so I'm glad she upgraded herself on that one. I'm just glad to know that it's a treat and she's enjoying it. So I'll mute my line. Thank you very much for asking if she got the package, Gus.
For sure. Good job looking out for Miss Scarborough. I'm sure I know she said, much obliged and thank you for looking out for her, even though she is not accustomed to loose leaf tea. Still learning. As I said, I thought it was especially funny and perhaps even a cosmic touch there from the creator that on this trip, out of all the trips in my life, on this trip, I would have natural tea bags and lots of them so that I could share and still have tea for myself, which I did today. No accidents, no coincidence. Much obliged for, sharing. And that is a great suggestion to share. I do realize, or I am aware that, yes, there is another trial that is garnering substantially more attention. I don't know if the Diddy trial is being live streamed. Like, can people sit around and watch that all day long on YouTube or whatever? Can you go jam the courthouse and see what they're talking about all day long? I guess sexual abuse should not happen if he actually is guilty of all of this. Totally. I said last time I said it's not like we want to cheer and say Leroy is always the best. So-called dating, that is not true. First time, last time. We do not want any sort of abuse, period. But man, this just happened. This just happened. I think we should, I think we should be paying attention, especially in the land of Dahmer, to have the exact same thing happen. Oh yeah, I think we should be paying. I think we can make enough time. We can make enough time to talk about Diddy and watch the NBA Finals. We can make enough time to talk about Diddy and Sade Robinson. Just saying. Especially if you have offspring. I cannot say that enough. Just there have been so many moms. That scent of a woman, some of that perfume that has rubbed off, they are mommies. I have a daughter. What am I supposed to say? That could have been Sade. Facts. Hey, if your daughter is 17, 16 years old, hey, old enough to get into the bar around here and get 3, 4, 5, 20 shots. So, yeah, what are you? The one thing you could say to them, sobriety would be best. That would be one thing you could say to your offspring. Man, and again, not trying to be no prude, moral, none of that. None of that. We are in a system of white supremacy, racism, and it is astronomically dangerous. That is why you need your brain computer working at the highest possible level. Make great, the old Max coming, whoa. I don't even like the cut of your jib. Like, I think the fella said that Max wasn't attractive. Like, I say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The evidence would suggest Sade thought he was attractive. White people, I think Fuller has that in the code book, that people classified as white, they are the most attractive people in the known universe. I think that's what Fuller said, in addition to saying that Jeff Dahmer, essence of white supremacy, racism. I don't know. I think this fella kind of looks Dahmerish. You know, he got those blue eyes. At minimum, I know you ain't got no blue eyes. I know that. If you classified as non-white, you didn't call in here talking all that, and my man Max got them crystal blue eyes and throw that blonde hair back. Boy, Max clean up, act like he got some sense. He's white. That goes a long way, especially on being so-called attractive. If I heard that Max isn't too good looking, he's not so handsome. Max is classified as white. I heard some black females talking about how it was a handsome, sexy white man out in the hall. I believe one of the detectives, who I think did testify, I could maybe even get you his name exactly. So, yeah, I don't beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We are not at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Tomorrow will be day 7 of the Sade Robinson murder trial. We are not here because Sade Robinson found Maxwell Anderson unattractive. Just going by the record.
Mr. Renegade, may I say something else?
Yes, sir.
When he first did appear back last year, whatnot, when it was on the news to begin with his long hair, I did kind of think he had a white Jesus thing going on. So, but it is true that they are the most attractive people. But nevertheless, I still think he's an ugly man. But never mind. Thank you.
You just one ugly black dude hating on that good-looking sick white brother. That's all. You just hating. That's all that is. See, white Jesus thing. See, I remember that. He had to see, because he shaved. They made a point of that. They said for trial now. See, he let that white Jesus thing go. He shaved, cut his hair, put on a button-down shirt. He didn't have all that old riff-raff hoodie and jeans and camouflage. He cleaned up. It's time for trial. See. He could. That's why I say he could have done this back then. He didn't want to do that. He had scruff. He had that beard, long hair. Jesus, and even then, he didn't say homeless, hobo, ragamuffin. He didn't say that. He said he had that kind of Jesus thing. That's what it means to be white. Ain't nobody say Gus got that Jesus thing. He got that beard, that coon twist. What does it mean to be white? And Max was kind of a no-count white. I'm just going by the record, by the arrest record and all the rest of it, where he's at now, what his housemates said. I mean, what people that he worked for said. How long was he employed? 3 weeks. 3 weeks? 3 weeks. He didn't even make it to the full month. Man. Woo. Any hoodles. Anything else folks want to make sure that they get in on day 6 of the, what shall I say, activities? Again, I think the prosecution could be done. I don't know if Ms. Scarborough is going to testify. I heard them on the news. They were talking about that, whether or not they'll call her. I don't know. I know they do that sometimes to kind of put the emotional bow on the case, if you will. Like, this was a real person. This was her mom. And they said she does have evidence because, she's on the phone like, where's my daughter? I haven't seen her. What happened to her? She would have only called. This isn't like her. What the world? That sort of thing. I don't know. I don't want to ask. Feel like I'm prying. Like, are you going to testify? But yeah, that and the pictures. Is she going to testify? I don't know how much more. And it was that jacket tested for DNA. I don't know how many more questions and or witnesses they can have, but the prosecution could wrap Wednesday, Thursday, and man, I mean, literally, this trial could be over Friday for reals. We will have to see. We'll see how things go tomorrow and how far they get. But I mean, the defense has 6 witnesses on their list, and I think the prosecution has done more than half of their case. So we'll see how much more we have to go. Lots more to cover down here in good old Milwaukee. I might even have some more of my Dahmer files so I can really go back and share more of the details with pictures and all of that. And just seeing there's so much overlap. It is all the people who talk about progress, this would be the type of case I would point to. Now, progress. So Jeff Dahmer can go wild and be chomping and slaughtering black and non-white people all throughout Milwaukee. My driver this morning said she knew one of the victims specifically, personally, said she knew him, remembered him, and then dumped and chomped. Anyway, there's so much overlap between these two cases. Anybody talking about we made progress, old Beasley and Kamala Harris and blah, 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 and all that old nonsense. Like, hey, racist white man was chomping on black people in Milwaukee 30 years ago. Racist white man chopping up black people, stealing black people's skulls in Milwaukee right now. How much progress we made? Black people missing skulls 30 years ago, black people missing skulls now. How much progress we made? Say looks is in the eye of the beholder. I guess progress is too. You still got your head. I guess maybe we made some progress. Anyway, we will see what they get into for Wednesday. Photographs and the satanic. I will keep an eye out for any satanic material as they continue with his house, photo records, any of the rest of it, and any DNA material on the jacket. I am hyper curious. Anyway, Vincent Lopez, folks can look. Do you think this is a white dude, non-white dude? We got 1 vote for non-white. Let me know. See what you think. Invest if you think the coverage has been constructive. Maybe Gus should have went and covered the Diddy trial. Maybe that's what to do. Maybe that would have been more constructive. We could see privileged black male in action and all the rest of it. If I had to do it all over again, I would pick Milwaukee. I don't even want to be here, but I would pick Milwaukee, having to do it all over again. No change.
Excuse me, Mr. Renegade. One last question. There was one juror during when I was able to listen to the trial who, I guess she had an upset stomach, white woman, I assume, and they got her a soft drink. Did she leave at all, or was that enough for her to resolve her problem?
Apparently that was enough. She did not leave. We were a little, or I was like, oh no, did she do something? Did she cheat? Did she pull out her phone? And they were like, oh no, she just got a upset stomach. So they went and got her a Sprite. I was more upset because they hound us out in the galley. Like, do you have water? Put that water down. You can't drink out that. Put that soda. Like they all day long, like anybody got a sip of anything. Like, man, once you cross that glass, phew, beverages, sodas, coffee, probably snacks, and well, I haven't seen anybody eat, but all the rest of it, have all the coffee and soda and water and everything else that you want. In fact, when that happened, I turned around to some of the ladies sitting around me and said, dang, you think if we say, hey, my tummy ache, you think I can get a ginger ale? Or so you think they'll give us a soda too? Or they'll go outside and drink. Shut up, Leroy. Get outside, drink what you need, and then come back in here and be quiet. Don't you bring that soda in here either. I didn't try it. I kept my mouth shut and took my notes quietly. But I did have a surly look. They brought her a fresh, cool, not that I wanted a Sprite. I do not drink high fructose corn syrup. But I can't drink my yerba mate tea in the courtroom, so I have to guzzle it down outside and then go back in. Like, hey, my tummy is, I feel peaked. Can I, a little sip of yerba? Privileged white woman. She said, we conject or theorize she might be pregnant. If you want to place money on that wager to see if it's true or not, but we wager that she might be pregnant. We'll see if this continues, if it's morning sickness, if it continues as we boogie on through the trial. But no, we were even hoping also that she left because they got those 12 white people on the jury. We could afford to lose some white people. That didn't happen. She stuck it out, so we still got the same number, 15 jurors, 12 of them white. Sobriety would be best. For Sade, we need fully functioning brain computers to solve our problem. Man, white people are dangerous, and sometimes we just we're not thinking, we are not aware, we're just not aware. We don't understand what it means to be white, and as such, hey, we do not need nothing that's going to cause us further impairment. Like, I just got to get me a sip of Mad Dog. No, you do not. And especially not with no white people. That should be another one. Man, I do not do no alcohol when white people are present. I do not do no alcohol, no narcotics, no drugs. If white people are present, no. That is the worst combination in the universe. White people, alcohol. I've said that for years. You take that back to James Byrd Jr. Certainly, we could put Sade on it now, but it's a long list of black people. That was their last mistake. Alcohol. White people. Make better decisions. Part of that, stay away from them narcotics and Mad Dog 2020. Creator, remind us to maximize our time and energy, replacing white supremacy with justice, not dating. Remind us not to waste non-white people's time and energy, especially our own. Stop name-calling black people. Stop gossiping. Stop producing throwaway offspring. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Invest. If you think the cows is constructive, hit the blog racism-notes.blogspot.com PayPal button in the top right corner. You can hit the Cash App. You'll see the links for Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. Cash App address cash.app/$ the cows. Enormous gratitude to all the folks who kept us in Milwaukee for close to 2 weeks. Hopefully it has been constructed. Maybe we should have went to Diddy. No. Cal signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed.
I'm a victim, brother.
Problem. You're a victim.
Yeah. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning.
Shut up.
The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.